feel about sex right now, about our sex life right now? Now, I'm going to go ahead and tell you that this is a conversation that can go all the way left, okay? So hold on. Before you tell him everything he's doing wrong, sis, stop for a minute. And what you want to do is you want to go into the conversation and say, what can I do better to make you feel more pleasure? Hey y'all, so I have another Reddit post here. It's about sex in marriage. What do you do when the sex just isn't that good? Should I be resigned to meh sex? Married for a decade. I love my wife very much, but the sex isn't the best. The sex is good and it's frequent, but it isn't the best I've ever had. I've been with others where the sexy click was just there and it was just better. If I don't think it'll ever get better, what can I do? Will it get less important as the years go by? Will it be something that gnaws at me forever? Will it get to a breaking point? Of course, nobody else is me. I guess I'm wondering if anyone else has gone through something similar. So that is the post. He is saying that he has mess sex. It's not that good. It's not that great. It's just sex to him. So we're going to get into why he feels this way probably and what he can do to make things a little better. Okay, y'all. So we're going to talk about what's on my shirt right now. If you can see it, it says grit. Let me tell y'all the definition of grit. Okay, grit is a personality trait that involves perseverance and passion for long-term goals. It's the ability to continue working towards something you're passionate about, even when facing obstacles. Grit is what your marriage should be all about. You should be all about trying to make your marriage the best that it can possibly be. So we have a husband here, and this could be a man or a woman, whoever you are. If you're out there trying to figure out, can my sex life be better? Can things get better here? Or you're probably not even asking that question. You're probably saying to yourself, I'm so bored with my sex life. I'm not satisfied. I feel sexually repressed. I feel depressed in our sexual relationship. I don't know what to do. If you're in that kind of mode right now, if you have that feeling about your marriage, sexual relationship, then I am here to help you, okay? I'm here to help you. The main thing you need to focus on right now, I know it's going to be simple, but please get out your pen and paper, okay? This is going to be very, very simple. The main thing you need to focus on, if you are feeling like the sex could be better, is, drum roll please, communication. Sis, bro, go and talk to your man. Go and talk to your woman. How hard can it be to communicate? Okay, let's get into how hard it really can be to communicate with your partner about sex. Okay, so I get it. Sex is something that we just don't talk about. Sex is one of the things that married couples divorce over all the time. You know, for some reason or another, the man or the woman steps out and they end up having sex with somebody else. So that lets me know that we're really not talking about sex the way we should. And I get it. I understand why. We grow up believing that sex is kind of like a bad thing, a taboo subject that you don't really talk about. You don't really have that talk a lot of times with your parents. And the talk that you have with your friends is kind of different because they don't know what they're doing either. And so you end up getting a lot of your thoughts of sex from things like porn and other things that are just not healthy ways to find out about sex. So my number one thing for you to do today, if you are not sexually satisfied in your relationship, is to sit down and have a talk. And we're going to go over some specific questions that you can pull out and go over with your man or your woman as soon as we talk about how to get over the fear of talking to your man or woman about sex. Okay, sis. So, or bro, whoever you are watching, let's talk about why it is so hard for us to talk to our significant other about sex. Why is it so hard, and how do we get over that feeling of not being comfortable talking to them about sex? Well, number one thing for you to do is to Get comfortable talking to your significant other about other things, first of all. And make sure that, let me just tell you something. Bro, if you're comfortable enough sticking a part of your body into your wife, and your wife is comfortable enough opening her legs wide for you, there should be no reason that you guys are not talking about what you're doing, okay? And no, you don't need to talk about this when you're in the middle of the act and you're hot and steamy, or you're sitting there mad because things are not going the way you want them to go. You want to talk about this beforehand. So actually tell your husband or your wife, look, babe, we need to sit down and we need to talk about sex. I need to tell you how I feel. Now, of course, I'm the type of person who's going to tell you, you need to talk to your significant other face to face. But if you don't have time, if you can't find the time, if you have kids running around and you really don't want them listening to what you have to say, then text him. Text him. Even if you're sitting in the same room, say, babe, can I tell you what I feel about sex right now, about our sex life right now? Now, I'm going to go ahead and tell you that this is a conversation that can go all the way left, okay? So hold on. Before you tell him everything he's doing wrong, sis, stop for a minute. And what you want to do is you want to go into the conversation and say, what can I do better to make you feel more pleasure? What can I do to make the sex the most amazing sex it can be for you? That's really how you want to start the conversation. It'll take the pressure off of your significant other to fix it, and it puts the pressure back on you, the person who's asking. So what I do with my husband is I say, look, babe, did you enjoy that last night? Was it something I did that you did not like? Is there something else we need to try? Did you like this or did you like that? Should I have done this or should I have done that? Like, how do you feel when I do that? Or is there something else I should have done? And another thing I've always liked to do with my husband is I like, when we're in the middle of it, is I tell him, I'm just like, babe, listen. What you want me to do? What you want me to do next? What you want me to do now? Come on. Like, let him guide me the way he wants. And we're pretty comfortable enough with each other where he'll guide me where he wants me to go or what he wants me to do anyway. Like, he'll push my head over to the side where he wants me to be, or push my, we just like that. But I mean, even me and my husband, even though we've been, dating since 2010 and been married for the past 7-8 years, I still find myself having to stop and say, look, we need to go back over, like, is our sex life okay? Like, are we just getting so used to it? Because I just had this conversation with him where I was like, we need to talk about sex. Like, are we having enough of it? Should we reconsider our schedule? Should we make a schedule to have sex? Because we got kids in the house. Like, what do we need to do to make our sex life the best that it can be? What do we need to change? And, I gave him some pointers. I'm like, well, maybe we can do A, B, or C. I told him, look, I like to travel and have sex in different places. So we need to be planning a trip for me and you so we can get this excitement going again. And there are some other things that I like too that I'm not going to talk about on here. But my point is, it's just to open up and be real with your man, okay? And a lot of times, I'm saying man because I'm a woman, and so I feel like I'm more comfortable talking to a girl from a girl's point of view. And you could have a man who is just like this man who just left this message. Like, this is a husband who left this on Reddit. This could be your man leaving a similar message on Reddit talking about you. So I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you because this could be your man. You can step up and say, babe, what can we do to make our sex better? What can I do to make you feel more pleased? And so we're going to go through some specific questions that you can ask to get the conversation started. Because even if you've never talked about this with your man, today is the day to start. And the only way you can get comfortable with doing something that you never do is to, drum roll again, start doing it. The only way you can get comfortable talking about sex with your man is to start talking about sex with your man. Okay, start talking about what you like. Start talking about what you don't like. Maybe it's something that you don't like that he does. Baby, okay, so I told you to start off by saying, look, what can I do better? After he tells you what you can do better, you go back around and you say, look, well, I love how you do A, B, and C, But when you do D, I don't really care for that. Can we like not? Because I don't really like care for that. Like, you don't do that. Like, can you do it like a little softer? Or can you rub me just a little bit lighter because it's a little too hard? Or maybe you want him to rub you harder. Like, you need to be a little more forceful with me, but not too forceful. Don't hurt me. But I want you to be like, whatever you like is my point. Let him know that, because how can we know about what each other likes unless we're asking? We can't see. I've been with my man for 14 years, and I know a lot about him, and I know a lot about his body, and I know a lot about what he wants. But that didn't come from me just sitting there trying to figure it out while we're doing it. No, that came from me saying, look, babe, what do you like? Do you like this when I do this, or do you not like this when I do this? And sometimes they be like, don't do that no more. Or yes, please continue. I love it. And so the only way you can know what he likes, the only way he can know what you like is talk about it. And I've told him some things like, look, don't do that no more. I don't like that. I know women usually like it, but I don't like it. So stop, because that's just, I have my reservation. Like, this is just not my thing. Now, if you come across something that he really wants that you don't want to do, and I know a lot of women know what I'm talking about right now, probably can guess some of the things that I'm talking about right now, but some women are against something that their man really, really wants them to do. Like, he just really, like going down on him. He just really wants you to go down on him, but you just like, I don't do that. Like, that's, I'm not a whore. I don't do that. I've heard women say that. Well, let me just say this. Nobody should do anything. Nobody should make you do anything you don't want to do. But I would go to you and ask you if your man wanted it so much, like so much, that he felt like he needed to just get it released somewhere else. He just needs to go out and cheat for it because he feels like he deserves it. And he just wants it so bad. Like he thinks about it all the time, to where sometimes he even thinks about, cheating to do it. Would you do it then? Would you be against it then? I'm asking this question because I want y'all to have an open mind with whatever your husband suggests. Now, I'm going to tell you, you should have your limits, though. It's okay to have your limits, because I have my limits. If my husband come to me and say he want a threesome, baby, we might need to get a divorce, because I'm a jealous type of woman. I can't do nobody else coming into my bedroom. And my husband shouldn't be asking me that, because he already know that about me. Your husband should know that about you by now, if you will or will not allow something like that. But if my husband came and asked me about that, no, that's a line that I'm drawing. No, baby, we not doing that. We not doing that. However, if my husband, if I had never gone down on him and he said, I would love it if we could try this. Okay. First of all, if I had never done it and my husband asked me to do it, my first thought would be, I don't know about this, because I've never done it. I'm going to look crazy doing it because I've never done it, and that's not anything I do. My second thought would be, well, maybe if I just tell him I'm not a whore because he thinks I'm a whore, then he'll let me off the hook. And then the third thing I would think would be, but if he really wants it, there's nothing really stopping me from doing it. Maybe I can learn. Yes, sis. Let's learn. So, yes, it can be very awkward to do something that's new for the first time, but what I can say is that it can be a learning experience for both of y'all. If you can get your husband to talk about what he wants from you or what he wants you to do in the bedroom, you can encourage him to kind of guide you as you're trying it out in the bedroom for the first time. Now, y'all might do some things where you both end up laughing and falling on the floor because it's funny, but over time, as you keep doing it, as you keep trying it, as you keep letting him know, look, I want to do it and I want to please you, that can be a turn on in and of itself. And you're going to learn over time how to do what he wants you to do, baby. You're going to learn over time. If you love your man, you're going to learn over time. So, like I was saying, let me get back to the questions that you can ask your man today about sex to get the conversation started, so that we won't be having all of these affairs going on. Because baby, sex should not be the reason that anybody is getting an affair. Okay, your man should not be going out looking, and you should not be going out looking elsewhere for sex, because the sex ain't that good at the house. Okay, Sex can be as good as you want it to be. You just got to put in the work. Start with these questions. Let's go over them right now. Here are some specific questions that can enhance your sex life. Segment 1, expressing desires and fantasies. So I've kind of already hit on this, but be sure to tell your man about your desires and fantasies. What you like, what you don't like, what you've always fantasized about. Ask these specific questions. What specific fantasies or desires have you never shared but would like to explore together? Are there particular activities or scenarios that turn you on or bring you closer emotionally? Segment 2, setting expectations and active listening. So this segment is all about being on the same page and truly understanding one another. Ask these specific questions. How would you describe your ideal sexual experience within our relationship? Are there any expectations you have about our sex life that you feel haven't been met? How can we improve our communication about our sexual needs and desires? Segment 3, creating a safe space. So we want to create a safe space when we're talking to make sure that our vulnerabilities are welcome, because talking about sex, of course, is a very vulnerable and touchy subject. So we want to make sure that we create a safe space. You can do this by asking these specific questions. What can we do to ensure that we both feel comfortable discussing our sexual desires without judgment? Are there any fears or concerns you have about being open about your sexual needs? Okay, so like I already discussed, one thing that my husband cannot ask me, and I will not go for, is a threesome or letting anybody else into our marriage. All right, so if you have a husband or a wife who desires that, you really do want them to be able to talk about that, because if there is a desire of those, even if you don't agree with it, you want to be able to talk about it. You want them to open up to you about it. You want them to discuss like why they feel that way and what you can do to maybe navigate that. I'm not saying that you should do anything you don't want to do, but sometimes I think that people who have fantasies about bringing other people in the relationship don't really think about the consequences of such actions. And even though they might in their head be thinking that they would love it, well, when it actually happens and they bring a woman into the relationship, and then when the woman, your wife, starts wanting a man to come into a relationship, then it's a different story. So I think you really need to dive deep into why you feel that way, or why your husband feels that way, and try to come to some conclusion. Also, if you are enjoying this video, go ahead and click that like button or dislike it. You know, it's up to you, whatever you want to do. And be sure to subscribe if you enjoy any of these topics that I've been talking about lately. I'm really enjoying going over these Reddit posts because they bring up so many things to talk about. So be prepared to jump and dive into more of those with me in the coming weeks. Down below, you will find a downloadable copy of all of the questions that I am asking. This is a great starter for you to start talking about these questions with your husband or your wife. So go ahead and download that freebie, and let's get back into the video. Segment 4, exploring together and routine check-ins. Okay, so I already kind of talked about this, where I talked about that I have started this thing where I check in with my husband about what he likes and what he doesn't like, or if we're having enough sex or we're not having enough sex. These are some questions you can ask about that. Ask, is there something new you'd like to try or explore in our intimate relationship? Do you feel we have enough open communication about our sex life? Or should we have more regular check-ins? And my last segment is segment 5, prioritizing intimacy and seeking professional guidance. So I talked about this when I just discussed if your significant other wants to do something that you don't want to do. That's when you want to bring the professionals in and talk about it with a professional counselor if possible. These are some questions you can ask concerning that. In what ways can we prioritize quality time together to nurture our emotional and physical connection? If we ever face challenges in our sexual relationship, would you be open to seeking professional help or counseling? So I hope that these questions unlock a deeper satisfaction in your sexual relationship and beyond, because I do believe that if you can get down to the nitty gritty with your sex talk, I believe it's going to open many doors to talk about many other, maybe even deeper issues that you need to discuss in your marriage. And it's only by opening our mouths and communicating can we get past any of the issues that we have right now. So please know that I am here for you, that I believe that all of our marriages can survive, can thrive, and can be fruitful. And I do believe that we can all be happily married in this thing called life. Another thing that I want to add before I end, y'all, it feels so good out here. I mean, the wind is just blowing. I hope it's not messing with my sound because it feels so amazingly good out here. But I wanted to also address another thing that I saw on a Reddit post, and I'm going to be very, very quick with this. But there was a guy on the Reddit post saying that his wife is never in the mood to have sex. And I'm going to do another video on this, but I just want to kind of dive into that for probably my next video. But I just want to tell you guys to not give up on your wife. The main reason I believe that women are not in the mood to have sex is because you're not catering to her other needs. Okay, so a woman is not going to be ready to have sex if she's not emotionally able to give herself to sex. So for men, it's a lot more physical for you guys, where it's all about, oh, if I'm just in the right place and I can just pull my thing out and you're here, then we can have sex. But for women, it's a much more mental thing. It's a much more emotional thing. So you want to cater to everything else but sex when you want sex, when it's dealing with a woman. And I know that sounds crazy, but listen to me, don't lose me here. I'm going to do a whole nother video on this. So you want to look and do a quick checklist and say, well, is she stressed out? Does she have too much on her plate right now? Are the kids getting her on her nerves? Is she feeling like she has too much to do when she gets home from work? Is she feeling really stressed out over maybe a health issue or a family issue? Ask those questions and see where you can come in and help her out. A simple, babe, can I do anything to make your day better, can do wonders for getting your wife in the mood to have more sex. Okay, so don't discount doing simple things that seem like they have nothing to do with sex, but I guarantee you they have a lot to do with sex when it comes to a woman. And even her as a mom and as a wife may not even know how much stress she's actually under, because a lot of times we get used to it and we're not actually thinking that we're stressed out. We're just thinking, oh, I just don't want to have anything to do with sex. I just don't want you to touch me. It has nothing to do with you most of the time. Most of the time, now sometimes it is you. I'm just being honest. Sometimes it is you. If you've done something you ain't got no business doing, it might be you. But if you've done everything that you're supposed to do, or you feel you're supposed to do, then the next thing you need to do is to ask her, does she need something on her plate to be taken off her plate? Does she need help with anything? Look at her mental state. Look at how she's acting. Look at how she's stressing. A lot of times when we as women start feeling depressed and down, we stop getting ready for the day. We stop putting on nice clothes. We start really focusing on ourselves because we feel like we're giving too much of ourselves to everything else. So if you see that in your wife, then offer to take something off her plate. Offer to give the kids over to your parents. Offer to take her out on a date. Offer to do A, B, or C. And I promise you, she will come around. Y'all will start having the best sex of your life after you implement the things that I've told you in this video, because I do believe that they will help. God created sex, and he created sex to be between a man and a woman. Okay, I'm just being honest here, coming from a Christian point of view. And sex is a beautiful thing. So let's rewire our thinking. Let's rewire our thinking. Sex is beautiful. God created us to have sex and to enjoy it in the context of our marriages. So get your husband, get your wife, and get ready for the best sex of your life starting today. All right, sis. All right, bruh. Until next time. Peace.